Kentucky is going to Ole Miss, and Kentucky is a 6.5-point dog on the road. Now, last time that you probably watched Kentucky was when they went to the Swamp and Will Levis and company took over. This is going to be another game where they got to go on the road and try to once again prove themselves and prove to the country that they're legit. The goal in-house is still the same at Kentucky, get to Atlanta. On the other side, for Ole Miss, they've just sort of been chugging along. Haven't had to play anybody that's too difficult from a competition standpoint just yet in terms of the logos they've played against. They haven't been exceptionally clean with the games they've played. Still trying to figure out that quarterback situation in terms of how to best manage Jackson Dart. But they're going to run the football. They're going to continue to take things off of his plate and just try and beat you with the talent they have. That's how Ole Miss is going to get down. Now, for Kentucky, they feel like they are finally full strength on offense. Running back Chris Rodriguez is back in the lineup, and they said he's fresh. It's not like he's been on timeout just away from the game of football. They've been running him with the twos. They've been running with the scout team up to this point. He's going to be ready to play. There won't be any rest or acclimation period for him, is what we're hearing. So the ultimate thought for Kentucky is they feel really good about that pass game, and it's hard to argue. Dane Key, Berrien Brown, Tavian Robinson, they got dudes. The guy throwing them the football is also a dude, Will Levis. They love him in the draft community. He's slowly but surely making a believer out of me on this show. We support him. I never really got the hype for sure, but to win a game like this would be crucial. Now, the concern for Kentucky is the offensive line, and that concern is fair. He's pressured a lot. If you just drop back and pass as Will Levis, you'll likely have another grown man in your living room in a matter of a few seconds. However, they've done a great job managing him and getting him moving, whether it's been play action, whether it's been rolling him out. There hasn't been a whole lot of sitting duck Will Levis. Now, the thought is with Chris Rodriguez returning to the lineup, being able to run the football more, that just opens everything else up a ton. Because defenses will now have to honor the run game a little bit more. If you can have more success on the ground, that's always a good thing. So the thought for Kentucky is to get a few big plays through the air early. You force a defense to decide. Do we want to put pressure on Will Levis, or do we want to try and cover up the back end? To make that decision early for Ole Miss is, in a perfect world, I think the game Kentucky could play. Because then you don't have to worry so much about having a zero blitzer and having a corner blitz or whatever it is. You're allowed to look at a little more of a simplistic picture. And again, that favors Kentucky. So that's Kentucky for you. For Ole Miss, we talked about it at the beginning of this segment, but they want to run the football. They run it about just as much as anybody else in the country. In small part, it's because it feels like maybe Jackson Dart's leash is a little bit shorter. The fact that Lane Kiffin still has to answer questions about Jackson Dart being a starting quarterback kind of points to why we're having that conversation. Jackson Dart is not lacking any talent. My opinion is he's a guy that's still sort of getting comfortable in this system. Can do a lot with his legs and has proven he's got a very strong and elite arm in a lot of facets, but getting it all pointed in the right direction is what's going to be crucial for Ole Miss. Regardless, I mean, you would imagine as much. The defense is really solid for Ole Miss. They're giving up less than 14 points a game, but again, they haven't played anybody yet. They haven't seen an offense like Kentucky yet. So like we talked about with our other previews, is this a ramp up to playing a good offense, or does this good offense show up and just kind of shock you? I think both are possible, but which route does Ole Miss end up going? Here's my ultimate feel on this game. Kentucky, as it pertains to their game plan, they want to run the football and then stop the run. If they can stop the run game for Ole Miss, which is a big if, but that linebacking core for Kentucky might be one of the best in the country very quietly, they're then going to look at Jackson Dart and say, Jackson Dart, can you beat us? And for Ole Miss, they may do the same thing. They might try and neutralize Chris Rodriguez if he gets rolling a little bit. Look at Will Levis and say, Will Levis, can you beat us? So then you kind of have this medieval bout going down, right? Hey, send out your best guy. We'll send out our best guy. Both our quarterbacks, duel it out. If this thing turns into a quarterback duel, like I anticipate it doing, I think Will Levis has the edge. Now, a few months ago, going into, the whole preseason magazine type of environment, I would have not leaned that way. But what he's done leading this offense, what he's done getting the ball to all these playmakers, and the way they've managed him in this NFL kind of system, I have been really impressed with the maturation and the progress that he's made to this point in the year. So for that reason, we like Kentucky to win this game. We think they win a close one, a lot of close games this weekend. We think they win 27-24 at Ole Miss. The Cats go into the Grove and get a huge win and signal to the rest of the country that you better be on Kentucky watch. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.